see this is a mixed crowd. We have some professionals and we have also some young budding engineers who is yet to be out of college. So I have made this content so that it can address both of your needs. I have tried my level best. I thought like being a fan of Nolan, I thought like I will also follow the Nolan script here somewhere, there somewhere, here and there, and finally try to stitch all the plots together. If I'm making you to sleep, excuse me, but I'll try my level best. Okay? So as you could see, right, like this is more about making your website faster. So I have used, or like I have picked two components from the Google Cloud. So this is about like using CDN and also using your storage bucket to make sure like you don't have the loading bars when you are developing your websites. So, okay, yeah, I don't know how it moved as usual. So, is everything good here? Yes? Really? It's not functional? Okay. So, any other thoughts? Like, there are two different reasons why, like, some says yes and some says like it's not functional. Of course, it's not functional. As you could see, right, like, you can't have a jar like this. Like, you cannot pour it. Like, you will be pouring it instead of pouring it in a cup, right? Like, you will be pouring on you if you are using like this. So, this is totally not usable at all. So when it comes to website, right, like what do you think that like, okay, when it comes to website, right, like what are the elements that you think that it is most important? Load time, yeah. It should be usable, yeah. User experience, yeah. Response time, yes. Anything else? Responsive, okay.
User interactive.
Interface, that's experience, comes in experience. Anything? It should provide an impact, okay. Okay, yeah, I got a varied answers and lot of answers across all. So I'm coming here, right, like I've been from this particular age, I've been worked on the dial-up connections. I have seen these things. How many in this room have witnessed this? Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. So it's a significant population here. I don't know like how you could see this thing even today, but I thought like most of you would have not seen it. But I'm surprised that like you have seen this. Like, when your connections are typically slow, right? Like you face up with these issues, and as I have hinted in my title, right? Like I'm just going to speak about how efficiently we can make our websites faster. Okay, of course, if you are having that kind of connections, you always end up saying like loading. Today, right? Like the number of sites you are experiencing this are very less, but how they are able to make it achievable, how they are making it possible in reality. Okay, so before I go, right, like, what's the expectations when you are opening a site, right? Like, what is your typical expectation that, like, in how many minutes or how many seconds that you want to see that website open? 2 seconds? Somebody said millisecond. I'm curious. Oh, okay. In no second, right? It has to open. Okay. Oh my God, man! Zeptoseconds. Okay, so there is a lot to be handled with zeptoseconds. I'm not sure if there are any website who can even achieving this in zeptoseconds. Right, like let's see what is the expectation. This is a survey conducted. This survey is like they're out there already, and as you could see, right, like almost nearly 75% of people's expectation, they wanted to load within 5 seconds. Okay, just like 25, nearly 26% are like on the other side. They are okay. They can, maybe there are some boomers to wait for more than 5 seconds. But yes, most of the people are looking for beyond less than 5 seconds for a website to be loaded. So what happens with 5 seconds, right? Like typically today, right? Like you have lots of e-commerce websites, and all these websites are targeting some conversions, right? So what do you think, like how the conversions rate would be when the loading of your site is faster? Any ideas? Like if I'm able to load in few seconds, like 1 second, 2 seconds, or 3 seconds, okay, what would be the conversion ratio? Say that, sorry?
5%.
Pardon?
5%.
5% conversion ratio, okay? It will be inversely proportional to the loading time. That's a good thing. Anyone want to have a different opinion from Buna? 90%? Okay. So let us see what the surveys are, like how it generally behaves, right? Like if it is 1 second, there is only 3% of conversions are happening in e-commerce websites. So that's the reality. Now, right, like having said that, I'm moving to another area. Okay. So you people who are into front-end development, right, like are aware of Lighthouse, and I have captured the Lighthouse performance metrics of 3 websites. Okay, CDNs, Amazon, and Myntra. Okay, so can you guess, right, like which one will be in this order? Any one, please. First would be Amazon. Okay.
Third is TechConative.
Third is TechConative. Okay.
Second is Myntra.
Okay. He guessed it right. I don't know how he guessed it. He guessed it right. Kudos. So, yeah, that's correct. Like, of course, maybe he has solved the performance. I don't know. Though we are TechConative website is not a progressive web app, we had a good performance in the this thing, right? So what are the factors that are typically affecting, oh my God. Okay. So let me keep it aside and I'll use my,
Your system has been hacked.
okay. So what are the factors that are affecting the performance of the website typically? It's few things, right? Like when you have a large files along in, that are stitched into your website, maybe for a better quality, right? Like of a picture, right? Like definitely the sales guy or the marketing guy would say like a lower resolution doesn't turn up good, so I always need a higher resolution file. And the next is like your server performance, right? Like suppose, let's say that you are hosting your website with somebody else, right? Like that time the performance of your machine will go down. And the next thing is like excessive requests. So you have bombarded your web page with number of requests. Like you have a multiple JavaScript files that could be embedded along with your pages, and also like you have an bombarded with a lot of images, right? Like then for each and every request that you are going to make, right, it's going to hit the server. Okay, and a poor caching policy. So say that like you wanted to make sure the freshness of your website is like near real time, and you are having a caching as like less than a day or like less than an hour. for every hour, right, like you're going to hit the server. So a poor caching policy can also lead to a bad performance results. And there are a few other things, the framework that you have been using, and it also based on the external assets or the image data that you are putting in. For example, right, like today we have chatbot integrations, we have Clarity integration, we have Google trackers, and all those integrations for various reasons, we are just keep on adding it into our websites, and we finally end up in resulting in a slow performance results of your systems. So with all those, right, like as I said before, out of 8 that we have seen in the previous slide, right, like CDN can help me to fix 5 of this, and I'm relying on CDN to at least to address the 5 things that we have seen before. So what is a CDN? Content delivery network. This crowd, right, like I love because it's so interactive and
Cloud from.
yeah, cool. So before, right, like what it used to be, the content from your servers, when each and everyone are requesting, they'll have an unique lines to get it delivered. But with CDN in place, it's no more all the content will be delivered to the CDN. The CDN can be very near to the geographical location that you are in, and the requests are served from that particular CDN service. So before I go on to the next slide, right, like for a CDN server to be effective, what are all the essentials that do you think a CDN server should have or like inherit?
Low latency.
Low latency,
High bandwidth. High bandwidth.
high bandwidth, okay.
As a CDN provider, you should have your presence on a lot of different areas like
Geography,
and more storage means you can cache.
okay. The storage,
Invalidation mechanism.
invalidation of
Once you update the original server, you have to have a mechanism to.
time to live,
Yeah.
okay.
Maintaining the hardware itself.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Maintaining the hardware itself.
Maintaining
The hardware itself.
hardware,
High availability.
high availability.
All nodes should be in sync. All of the nodes should have the same data.
Yeah, all should have the same data. That's, you can put it as a reliability. Ooh. I'm not doing anything, I don't have a pointer also. Okay, so no more surprise, we have everything displayed. So, we saw a lot, like I just only grabbed the essentials which I thought like the most important for a CDN. Of course, there are gazillion things, I just like kept it very few here. Of course, the caching, somebody said time to live, that addresses in caching, and the load balancing, right? Like within a CDN, the requests that are hitting a CDN, it has to be balanced within a CDN server, and the data compression, right? Like as I was saying before, right? Like when we have a huge files that have been uploaded inside, right? Like the data have to be compressed without affecting the quality of the images or the quality of the video. So that's very important. And how effectively you are sharing the data that comes in the content optimization, and prefetch is right, like it's a kind of a predictions which some assume that like you are in one geography, and the morning, right, like that particular geography able to serve a number of requests in that particular morning, So that can cascade over the different geographical location as the sun rises, right? Like, so there could be some prefetch options also, and there should be, of course, DDoS protections, and also, right, like you should have some security mechanisms are to be built in within your CDN services. So these are all certain essentials that a CDN should post. Now, right, like I'll go on to next thing in CDN, how the CDNs are categorized and how what are the types of CDNs that are there in today's context. So the first level or the first layer is more about the categories, and I have listed like what are the types under each categories are. So the CDNs can be classified or categorized based on the content, based on the infra, based on how the data are being delivered, and is it specific to a particular applications, and whether they are like specialized on certain aspects. So those are the categories that we have, and then right, like, when you take content based, right? Like, so the general purpose CDN is more towards serving your CSS, serving your JS, and serving your HTML pages belongs to the general purpose, and media is more towards the images and the videos that you are going to have, and the mobile, certain CDNs are like optimized for delivering the contents to the mobile. Okay, so that's based on the content. Next, I go on to the infra-based. We have a cloud hosted by the cloud services, and we can have a private one. So if I wanted to have in a way that like it's only within my org, then I can have a private private CDN, and I can also have an edge CDN where my assets would be pushed to a near server where my end systems are having access to. Okay, and the next is like based on the delivery, traditional and peer-to-peer. Traditional is like anyone having access to anything, whereas in peer-to-peer, right, like you from one system to another system, you directly send the assets in peer-to-peer way, right? So instead of going for a server way of delivery, right? Like another is like dynamic content and IoT. So I'll come to the dynamic content later in a while, and of course IoT is CDNs are designed to handle the requests from IoT devices. Security focused. In previous slide I have mentioned you about how the authentication tokens are being handled, and also there are certain CDNs which supports the DDoS or have a firewall for DDoS attacks. And performance optimized is another category, that another type we have. So till now, right, like our task is to make sure the website performance is improved. So we had the CDN to rescue, and now, right, like as yesterday Ranjit was speaking, right, like it's our developer's duty to make sure that like we address the business, and we have to be a business acumen, right? Like, so I'm going to the goal how we can solve it in a business term. So I have took it like this is a slide which I've already prepared before itself. So I'm just drawing some insights from Ranjit. Right? So our goal is to leverage the technology to support certain business models. So as the technology evolved from a management perspective or from the business perspective, the business models have also evolved. Okay, so now I'm shift my gears to give you certain views on business model, of course not related to technology at all, but please bear with me, you will understand why I'm going here. So the internet is all buzz about these business models today. We have dropshipping, right? So I'm not going to explain what dropshipping is about, but with this slide, content and present, right? I would like to understand an example of a dropshipping that you are aware of. Anyone? Dunzo Porter, okay. Reselling websites, okay. Flipkart, dropshipping. E-cart, okay. Delivery. Shiprocket. I'm not sure. You are heard of? Is your brand? Okay. Alibaba. Okay. So does Misho comes under dropshipping?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, cool. So let me go on to the next one. The next one is like print on demand. So is anyone from an influencer community or have you ordered something? Pardon?
There is a brand called Wave.
What's that?
Wave. Brand name was Wave. It will do the same.
It does the same thing? Oh, okay. I get some this crap. Crap is related to the medicine and all these things. Printo. Okay, Printo is a classic example for print on demand. So we have, if you want to have t-shirts, if you have business cards to be designed, Printo is a classic example for print on demand. With all this in place, right, they evolved a new business model called social selling. So, how many of you have, or how many of you follow some famous social media influencers? Yeah, please go ahead. You are a social media influencer?
No, you asked how many of you follow.
Okay, cool. So only one? Everybody does, right? Yeah, cool. And have you ever seen an influencer selling his own product?
Yeah.
A lot, right? Of course, we have a few things. Can you name someone? Mr. Beast, everybody knows. Nobody else knows? In fact, when I was also searching for, other than Beast, I didn't know anybody else. I happen to know that Zach King and Nash are the other few influencers who is doing the social selling quite a lot, and they are very much successful. So if you see here, right, all these t-shirts, right, they look similar. When you are looking holistically, right, it's just the designs are being changed, right, but the base product remains the same, right? So there is a model, or there are few concepts called T-Sprint and Blink Store in India. They have come up with this kind of a model which enables the influencer to do a social selling. So in the making, right, what they typically do is, they have a base product listed, and they have some what all the colors that can be made available, and what kind of sizes that can be made available. So one can choose this kind of product, and they can do a design. So however they want, they can upload a design, and positioning it, all those things can be possible. So we have worked on this particular use case in one of our engagement, and if you see, right, there are a few heights and there are a few positions displayed here. Based on the coordinates here, the prices also get changed, because when the coordinates have been changing, right? Like the printing cost evolve, the printing cost changes. So we calculate the prices dynamically, and that based on that price, an influencer can have a margin and sell it when it comes to the end user. I'm just like rushing here now. So finally it comes, you have already seen this slide. So once you have prepared your workflow, done with your workflow, the end products that you are seeing. Now you can ask, right, like, where are we? Are we lost? No. We are still here. I'm coming back to the storage buckets now. Why we are going for storage buckets? Right? Like, one of the main reasons that like I'm going for storage buckets is like it's really the products in which I'm working, right? Like it has to be customizable, and each and every influencer will have his own designs, and I have to use that designs, and I have to ship these designs to his websites. Okay, so I cannot store those designs in the product inside my DB, so I have to rely on non-traditional storage. For that purpose, I've gone to the storage buckets. So this is more about like how we can rely on storage buckets in GCP. This is more about the configurations of like storage. So you can have the region wise. You can also have whether it is like you are going to support a multiple region, dual region or a single region, and where you want to host it. Those kind of configurations that you can put it in your GCP when you are creating a storage buckets. This is further getting into it, like how we are going to deliver your storage assets through the GCP Cloud Store. And the next is about like if you want to set some access controls, you can also do this access control set, whether you want to have a uniform one or like whether you want to have a access control to a particular object that comes in the fine-grained one. So I'm just going to skip certain parts of this because this is all about the configuration. GCP has good documentations here. I will also upload these slides. You can take a look into it. So the next thing is like what are the necessity for the storage objects. So through the cloud storage object, my delivery is like optimized, and I can have an improved load time. And in my engineering side, these storage objects are like scalable, availability and reliability are like ensured, and also like secured. No one can upload the data to the storage buckets because I have set my fine-grained access control appropriately. And other things are like it is cost effective and the user experience is seamless. So now it's time for me to stitch the storage buckets and also my CDN. So GCP has a lot of options through your load balancers. We can connect your load balancer to your storage bucket directly in easy steps. I'm done. The last two slides. Okay. So this is a flow of like how to do it. So once you have the MV setup, you go to your backend configurations and you can create backend bucket. From this slide, like when you are doing it, you have to enable this option, enable Cloud CDN, and there are further configurations here. Once you go through all these things, there are like helper text. Once you choose the appropriate configurations, you are done. And with this in place, right, like we were able to deliver our page, right, like a particular page of a particular design for a social media influencer in 4.2 seconds is what like we were able to do it. So which was phenomenal when we when we started, right, we thought, right, like less than 5 seconds was our SLA, and then we thought, right, like with 4.2 seconds, we thought like we are within the bounds of our SLA. So that we are able to achieve with storage objects and with the CDN in GCP, thanks to Google. If you are still stuck with your performance, what you can still do is, there is an appendix, so which you can go ahead with the lazy loading options that you have in the front end side as well. Okay, I'm not gonna rush through this. Okay, so before I wind up, right, like I will have to let you know that like TechConative is hiring. Please scan the QR code and take a look into the JDs that are available. And you can see what are our trades that side and what TechConative means this side. That's it from my side. Like any questions from anyone?
We are open for a few questions.
You said that storage buckets enhance the performance.
Storage buckets along with the CDN put together.
Yeah, when we combine, were we able to achieve a lot more things apart from loading a website? There are any more use cases?
Yes, there are. For example, right, like how effectively we have handled our assets, the application assets, the framework assets. So that we have handled. We can take it offline. If I start to speak, right, it's a huge thing.
We can take probably one more.
So put it on the whole summary that you say the whole network is built up with the storage buckets and it helps in retrieving or it's like more advanced organization of data in the cloud itself, the buckets which are being placed in the cloud itself and the retrieval of the information through the CDN network.
Yes.
If I were to summarize the whole thing.
Yes, you are right.